Whoa! That was an awesome high note right there. I think that was Jungkook probably singing that.
Run, run, lost boy, they say to me.
I can already tell just by the music video this is going to be an intense song.
No, no, not today. No, 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 not today.
That's awesome, but I really like how they're using a refrain, not today. So there's kind of two ways you can build repetition within a pop song. Usually, most pop songs are going to utilize a chorus that's going to be repeated multiple times throughout the song. Or you can create a refrain that within the verse, it's kind of repeated over and over. So you don't really have a verse-chorus type of style. It's less of that classic approach and more uses less of that classical approach to pop music. If you're new to singing and would really like to learn more about the voice and how to use your voice properly, please check out the link down below. I've got a course called Transform Your Voice that is the beginner's guide to learning how to sing. So even though they're not singing, they're still using a lot of vocal technique when they're rapping these parts. Because they are using pitch in a lot of the lines of the song. They're using kind of a similar pitch. No, not today. Like that kind of like melodic approach to the song. Another thing you'll notice is that they're using a lot of very bright vowels as they're singing this. And that just kind of helps them to just add a little bit more character and emphasis into the song. Another thing that they're doing is they're lowering their larynx so that they can get a deeper sound. So if they were doing with a high larynx, that's kind of like right around here, this is about neutral, and like high would be right around here, and then low is like this. So like they're kind of putting on a little bit of this type of approach. So that lower larynx position helps them to convey a stronger approach within the song. If you want to see an uncut version of this video, check out the link in the description. Alright, so there you're hearing a bit of a breathy mix. That's awesome. That was really, really well executed. And we'll see how he does in the live version. I'm really excited to hear how they approach this live. But you can see that execution of that breathy mix is done perfectly with no strain. Not super high in his range, so it's not like pushing it, but still, those are high notes, and you know, it's not easy for everyone to be able to sing. And so there, Jimin used a little bit more of a stronger, heavier mix, whereas Jungkook had a little bit more of a breathy mix. I think this is the most intense BTS song I've ever reviewed, or really have ever heard. It's got a lot of intensity to it. You know, it's not one of their laid back pop songs. This one is definitely more on the intense side of EDM. So that was a really nice juxtaposition between RM and J-Hope. Number one, RM was in the lower part of his range. And number two, he was using a lot of that lower larynx position, whereas now J-Hope is coming with a rap that's much higher in his range and with a higher larynx as well. So you guys heard that? So here's RM's part again. So definitely like low larynx position there. Do you hear how that's got like a little bit more of that type of nastiness in it? That kind of like really bright approach is where that high larynx sound comes from. It's an intense drop. I love it. It's really good. Alright, so now we're coming into the breakdown of the song. Kind of had that same sort of verse building up to the drop and then verse building up to the drop. So now it's breaking that cycle with a breakdown right here. Whoa! That was an awesome high note right there. I think that was Jungkook probably singing that. Let's go back. That was either Jimin or Jungkook. Can't tell exactly in that range, but that was really, really awesome. Also, I think that was a head mix. Yeah. I really love the effects that they put on their vocal. It's such an intense reverb that it basically, at near the end here, sounds like one of the instruments. Wow, so live from Wembley. Alright, awesome. So sounding very good, but you can tell that they've dropped down the pitch of this rap part, because the rap part in the original is much more in his mix, whereas now he's singing more in his chest voice, just kind of like on his lower end of his range. Probably because live it would be hard to be in that mix during the rap. Alright, so Jungkook doesn't sing it with quite as much breath, so he's not so much in his breathy mix there. He's much more in a full mix, similar to the way Jimin's probably going to sing it right now. Oh, interesting. So Jimin actually uses a little bit of falsetto up on the top. I like that. I really like how he flipped up in his falsetto and then came back down into his mix. I also like that that wasn't in the original song. They held it right there for effect so that, you know, they would kind of build up intensity in that moment, right? You're kind of like expecting them to move on to the next part of the song, and then they hold it back for a second. And that hold, that sometimes that break that makes it that much more meaningful once they get into it. Wow, it's like so fast paced, it's hard for me to keep up with who's singing what part. It's like they're jumping between each other so quickly. Wow, RM's breaking a sweat. He's really moving around the stage. That's pretty crazy. He's like pouring sweat way more than anybody else. So I really like how they use the same sort of approach as the original there. They used that low larynx position when RM was singing, and then the high larynx position when J-Hope jumped in. Nice, so Jimin actually used the same sort of approach to that falsetto note that he did the first time through. Jin used much more of a Jungkook type of approach, which is full out mix all the way through. Just, he probably has a little bit of a higher larynx mix than Jungkook does. Jungkook has a little bit more of a balanced mix. Man, it's crazy how they're able to keep up with the choreography and the vocals and remembering the lines. Like, hats off to them for being able to do all that in one show. Like, it's incredible, the amount of work that goes into this. Alright, so it was Jimin. Jimin is doing the high note. Okay, so now we finally get to know. So there he's using much more of a falsetto approach. And I think that might be the way that he did it in the original. Although I think I stand by my original point that it was a head mix. Yeah, that's definitely falsetto. I think it was more of a head mix in the first time. The original. RM is really good at hyping it up. He's really good at like getting that energy in there. Suga in the original had much more energy. Here it's kind of like dropped down because of his pitch drop. So I think the really fast that part, I think it's Jungkook singing it, if I'm not mistaken. I think that one's just falling a little bit flat the entire time. It's just because they're moving so fast, you know, it's really hard to be able to hit those notes right on pitch. Incredible performance. Wow. So if you like this video, please check out this one. You're gonna like it too.